I'm going to be a millionaire in a few years on a teacher's salary, and I'm 30 years old. So how does that happen? How is that possible? I'm going to share with you everything that I've done and things that I've learned so that you can maybe implement them in your own life. I've really benefited from having people come online and share their stories of becoming financially independent, financially free, becoming millionaires, etc. And so I hope these tips are helpful. So I'm going to start with one that is personal to me, and maybe you can work on this if you aren't there already, but I started saving early. So I always had that saving mindset and that saving habit. Have you ever heard there's like spenders, there's savers, and most of the time people fall on a spectrum. And so maybe ask yourself like where you are. But for me personally, I loved to save. I was able to save. I did have parents that were able to help me when I was a child, and I didn't have to pay for things necessarily when I was like 12 years old. So that certainly helped, and I could have a job and save the money that I earned, or a lot of it. And so are you a saver? Are you a spender? That can really make a huge difference. I had the opportunity to have roommates, and I moved in with family multiple times. And so if you can lower your cost of living, like your housing, your cars, your transportation, and your food, the big three is what I call them, are typically what makes up the most of Americans' budgets, or most people's budgets and spending. And so if you can lower those three big things, especially housing, a lot of people are house poor or they really struggle with that. If you can lower your house payments, if you have roommates and it's a $2,000 a month place, or even $4,000, but you have 4 roommates or 8 roommates, that significantly reduces your costs. Or even having family, like after college, moving in, I was able to go get my master's degree while I was with my parents. And so I was able to save money there. And so how can you lower your cost of living? This really, really, really makes a big difference. And I can't emphasize this enough. I also got married. So I got married fairly young. I was maybe 25 years old or something, but my husband's a teacher. It's not like I married someone who's making $250,000 a year or something, but having another income really does help. And so especially say you're making $50,000 or you're making $80,000, if you can double that or add on to that, that can totally transform your situation. And so I'm not saying go out and get married, but just being honest and real with you guys, like having another income did help. Now, even though I was married and we had a little bit of extra money, instead of saying, hey, let's go get a bigger house or let's go buy more things, instead, we actually lived on one income. And so, or less than that actually. So we moved to a place that had a pretty low cost of living. I talked about that just a minute ago, that you want to focus on your housing costs and see how you can get it down. And so we moved somewhere. We had a 3-bedroom, 3-bath townhouse, and it was like $1,200, something like that a month. And so we had a lot of money to put aside, and that really, really helped us. Both my husband and I don't really have super extravagant taste. Okay, I really like nice things, but I am kind of simple. And I'm especially was super motivated to have that money, have that freedom. You just feel so much better when you have the money. So it was worth that short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. But we would do free activities, like we would go running, we would go play tennis. You could just go to a local tennis court and just go play. So yeah, we would maybe go to the movies or do things like that, but we asked for gift cards instead of presents. If a family member wanted to give us a gift for a birthday or for Christmas, we just asked for that. So keeping our cost of living really low with our house, but then also with entertainment or what we did, we found more free ways or more affordable ways to have fun and to enjoy our lives. Now, I know this might be hard. So if you really like travel, or if you really want to save up and you can still save some of your money and invest in like a big trip, go for it. I mean, we did travel a little bit, and my mom's a flight attendant, and we got to go travel a lot when I was younger. I've been all over the United States multiple times and over the world at different places. And so like, I didn't really feel the need to travel. I just was really enjoying being around here and doing some of those activities here. So, but do what works for you. That's just what we did. Adopting minimalism was also really, really helpful and getting more comfortable with myself. And so in my 20s, I did so much work. I'm always working on becoming a better version of myself, but I just did a lot of learning and a lot of unlearning. And the more comfortable I got with myself or managing my emotions or managing myself, like I was already a saver, but I didn't feel the need to just go buy something to make me feel good. I didn't feel the need to portray a certain image to other people. And so really getting comfortable within and finding those activities and things you can do that don't cost a lot of money and just being at peace with yourself and your journey can really just be such a huge hack. And so we don't have to go do what everybody else is doing. It's okay to have a different path. It's okay to do what you're doing. Maybe someone else is going on a trip. Maybe someone else is, who knows what they're doing, going out to eat all the time or partying. If that's not you, or if that doesn't support your goals, like being okay with that and being comfortable with yourself can really make a huge difference. So you can kind of see that we did do a lot of like lowering our spending. So really the equation to get wealthy is, can you lower your spending and can you increase your income? So we did a ton of those lowering your income type things. Like we even thrifted a lot. I did buy more clothes even before minimalism. Once I did minimalism, I didn't buy clothes for like 3 years or something. But I would thrift. I would go and I could spend $100 but get so many shirts or different clothes and styles. And it was actually kind of fun because the clothes were already shrunk to the size that I would need. Like, if you're in between a size or something, if it's already been washed and worn, that's the size. So it was super fun to go find different things and make it fun. Even get hand-me-downs. A lot of people get hand-me-downs, or we would look outside. Sometimes people put something on the street. There was like a gaming chair, so we got that for my stepson and brought it in, and you could hook it up to the Xbox or the PlayStation, etc. And so that can really help too, is just to really lower those costs by any means you can. But then you have to increase your income, which we did. So a lot of the things that I did were maybe uncomfortable or hard. Like I got a position at a school and immediately I was focused on the students and doing a good job, but I eventually was like, I need to get more. Like making $43,000 a year is not that much money. Like even combined with my husband, that's a struggle. And so I ended up figuring out, how can I get to a different county? And so start exploring. If you're a teacher and if that is your position, or if you have another low income job or something, how can you go somewhere else to a different company or organization or county that pays more? So I can literally I currently drive 15 minutes more, not even. I have a shorter commute than I did with being in the same county because it was so big. But I got to a really great school, and now I make 90% more than I did. 90% more, which is amazing. So there's a couple of reasons as to why this happened. Partly it's taken a few years, like with COVID, they increased the income like 28, 30%. And so they kept upping our salaries, which was awesome. And I got the benefit of that. I also have been teaching for a few years, maybe 5-6 years at this point. So every year you teach, you can earn a little more. And I also have my master's degree, which that's another tip as well. I got my master's degree, and typically a lot of counties, especially in the more competitive areas or higher paying areas, they want you to have additional education. And so I had my master's, and I didn't go to a super fancy school. I actually did get accepted to really nice schools and even an Ivy League school for my master's degree programs after my undergraduate at Virginia Tech. But I would have been out a lot of money. So instead, I just went to a different university. I went online, and so saved money there, lived with my parents at the time while I was doing my software engineering job. And then I ended up, it costed $18,000 or something. I paid for it out of pocket with the money from my software engineering job. And then I'm making $6,000 extra a year by having my master's degree. And so that's a huge thing. It adds up. And even if you couldn't pay for it out of pocket, that's 3-4 years, and then you'll make your money back. And if you're a teacher forever, or even 10 years, you'll make your money back. And so that can really, really help as well. There's also additional things you can do as a teacher to get paid. Some counties are better than others at this. Like some counties or states, it's just expected of you to do certain things, but there are additional responsibilities. We even got paid for extra duties, or I do get paid for certain duties. It's a few $1,000s, but every little bit does help. There's coaching, there's tutoring. I did tutoring after school, and it was a pretty good hourly rate, maybe $45 an hour, which was awesome. So it really does matter where you are, what state you live in. It is a higher cost of living area, but you can move further out. Or if you have a spouse that maybe makes more money, that can make things a little bit easier. For me, I don't want to spend all of my time and effort and energy. Like, my time is precious. I know my husband's a coach, and he spends so much time coaching and pouring his heart and soul into his team. And he makes like a couple $1,000s for months and months of work and hours of work. But he does it because he loves it. And so that's what you find a lot with people in teaching, is they love it. And the money isn't that important to them. But for me, it is. And so I found other ways on the side to make more money. For me, I love to teach, and so I wanted to come on YouTube. Like, YouTube is going to be something that will help me and that is helping me, and even is just fun. It's a hobby that I have. There's other side hustles and things that I have done that have really been helpful as well. I also know of teachers who either quit teaching and they did other things. I also know of teachers who started Etsy businesses, and that became pretty profitable. They would also sell their curriculum or different lesson plans, and actually made multiple millions of dollars doing that. And so how can you leverage your skills? A lot of teachers end up leaving the profession, and maybe that's the right fit for you. Maybe that is a good thing. I know a lot of people, like, we need good teachers. Like, that is where our kids and the next generation is going for most of their day, like 8 hours at a school. And so we need really great teachers. Unfortunately, in certain areas, it's not as incentivized. They can make good salaries depending on the area for like the amount of time off they have and the flexibility and things like that. But know that there's other options. And if you want to go get a different job somewhere else, you can do that as well. Another part of this is that I started investing. And so I was always a saver, right? But you can only save so much. I kick myself for not investing earlier and only saving. We could have had even more money faster because I have saved for so long. I had $20,000 by the time I was 18. And so all that money compounded plus all the extra that I would have put in could have really helped, but that's okay. So I'm going to have some more videos on exactly how to invest. I'm actually coming out with an $100 to 1 million ebook that will tell you everything you need to know about investing. So if you have questions, comment below investing and I can share more information with you, but stay tuned. I will have that resource and probably a YouTube video as well on exactly how to invest, because you want to make your money work. Your money needs to work for you if you want it to grow. You're working really hard. That's one thing with so many jobs, or helping jobs or service jobs or more low paying jobs or medium paying jobs. You're working really hard. You're putting a lot of time and effort and energy, but you don't necessarily get that money back. And we can argue if that's fair, if that's not fair, etc., but it is the case. And so you have the power if you want to make a change or if you want to do something else, but just know that, like, you're going to get paid what you get paid. Are you okay with that? Or do you want to make a change? We use tax advantaged accounts as well, like learning about the 401ks. We both max up to the employer match and receive that free money from our employers. And you can invest even more into your 401k. We have 403bs and Roth 403bs, which the money is taxed initially, but then it goes into your account and can grow tax-free, and it can be taken out tax-free. So that's really helpful as well. So it is investing, but kind of taking advantage of the Roth IRAs or different tax-advantaged accounts that will help shelter and protect your money as well. I also advise just to face the music. Like, what are your numbers? Actually look, and especially if you're married or if you're partnered with someone, like, look at your numbers. Don't just ignore it. Don't just let it go. Like, be aware. You wouldn't just, if you care about your child, just let them go do whatever they want and not care, right? So why do we do that with our finances? Why are we too scared to look at it? Actually look, what is your gross income? How much money are you making after taxes? How much money do you spend? Go pull up online or with your bank. A lot of banks actually show you exactly where you're spending your money. Like we would go through and I highlighted different things and we would talk about it and have open, honest conversations and figure it out. Or even like my husband liked to eat out a fair amount. And so we're like, all right, is it worth it? Do we want to cut back? And so we found like an amount of times that worked. And that's been great. And it helped multiple buckets like health as well. And so you really just got to get aware and like face it. It can be really uncomfortable, but you can't improve anything if you don't track it, if you don't manage it, or if you don't even know how much you make and where it's going. Patience and delayed gratification are also really key. If you've seen like the marshmallow test, I studied human development and sociology, and we would run these different experiments and we'd also learn about them. And it's where a child is given multiple marshmallows or one, and if they could sit and wait, they'll get more later. And so can you delay the gratification? I had heard and had listened to other people, and I'd done a lot of reading and learning about financial education, and they said that they wanted to live like no one else will so they can live like no one else can when they're older. And it's not because of a competition or trying to be different, but just realizing like, what is the normal path? Is the normal path going to get you the life you want? And if it is, great. But if it's not with your situation or with your job, like, can you make another choice? Can you make a career change? Can you make the most of what you have? What can you do? We always have some type of control. And so just knowing that and being willing to also wait and delay for the future. And that's made such a difference. Even now, like having built such a strong financial foundation, I can kind of breathe a little bit. We still acted poor, even though like as we got more money, that's a tip too, is to act poor, even if you aren't necessarily. And like when you think that way, you just act differently. You're not like just letting whatever into your life, you know? And so that really, really helps. All right, those were exactly what I'm doing to become a young millionaire as a teacher. If you like this video, feel free to check out this video on 10 skills making me a young millionaire. You got this, cheering for you on your journey. Feel free to follow along, and I'll see what I can do. Bye, guys.